Charmaine, we'll kick off with you. So very briefly.
I'm trying to be brief.
Self-managed and agency managed. So if you could tell us in 2 minutes.
Yeah, what's the highlight? What's the highlight of self-managing? Well, for me, the highlight of self-management is sitting in my dressing gown, processing invoices while kind of muttering to myself that it's all down to me. So I fell into self-management because back in 2014, when my son joined the scheme, the service provider that we were using hadn't registered yet. We were in Newcastle and they were in Sydney, and the NDIS was 3 years away, and they were blissfully oblivious to what was coming. So by being self-managed, I was able to access that provider even though they weren't registered. So really, I became a self-manager by default, not design. But now I really love being a self-manager because I get choice and control over who I can engage. I can use registered or non-registered providers. And actually, I know we're going to provide a link to a great blog that Plan Management Partners did about what does it mean to be non-registered. That doesn't mean dodgy, it just means not registered. As I said, the very reputable provider that we had in Sydney wasn't registered yet. But for me, it means that we can use a real mix of providers. We use some big providers, some small providers, independent contractors, and then some of the newer innovators like Higher Up and Better Caring, and I'll talk a bit more about them later, because this is really about processes.
Yeah.
So in every case, the provider that we use issues us with a tax invoice. It details the hours of support that they provided and the price. I check it, and then in my dressing gown, get onto the NDIS portal, process that invoice. Within about 48 hours, the funds arrive in my account. And it's a dedicated bank account, a little designator. I've got my own debit card. And then once those funds are received, then I pay the invoices. Even when we see a psychologist who likes to be paid on the day, I can either claim it back the same day and be reimbursed, or I can even potentially get a quote from them, claim on the quote, and have the money in my account. So I don't need to be out of pocket to be a self-manager. And I could even use the savings that I make as a self-manager to bring in some of those supports. I could outsource the administration that I do, but it would come out of my budget. And I'm going to give you a link to capacity building supports in self-management. There's a good fact sheet to explain what you can and can't claim additionally as a self-manager. I keep all the invoices and files on my computer. I label them with the provider and the date, so that if I ever had to pull up an invoice and justify a claim, I'm ready. And that's part of the job of being a self-manager, is being organised and being ready and keeping records. The only restrictions really to using my funds are that it has to be reasonable and necessary supports, and that I have to avoid falling into something like fraud or misuse of funds. And again, I can help you out to understand what that means by giving you a fact sheet that the NDIS produced about what they call payment integrity. So look, my simple tip is know the rules, play by the rules, and you'll be fine.
And you'll be fine. Great. So I think the key there is, if you're the type of person that wants maximum control, that wants maximum flexibility, and you have the capacity to do the administration, then self-managing is for you.